We are live now, so this is the second part of the Tuesday 2-minute tips. Actually, it's the first time I'm doing it on a Tuesday, but I did a quick tip on Friday. If you didn't see that one, I'll leave it in the description. I'll link to the original one, which was about updating your Google My Business hours. So today I'm going to talk about your what I call a PDF menu. So basically, what a PDF menu is, so restaurants have this oftentimes on their websites. Sometimes service-based businesses have this on their websites as well. So what I'm talking about here is when you go to a website to look at someone's menu, their service menu, or typically their food menu, and what you see is basically just a PDF version, like an image of like a regular menu that you would go in when you sit down, and that's just placed on top of the website, which is super, super hard to read. So the problem here is that even though the majority of traffic is done from a smartphone today, even 20 years after the smartphone was invented, people are still designing websites to be like very desktop, large monitor centric. And when I say people, I'm talking about people that you pay to design your website are designing it thinking that everyone's going to view it on a 21-inch monitor, and that's far from the case. So the problem here is that when you just have a PDF version of your menu there, it's very hard for me, a visitor, to see it. I have to pinch and zoom that menu on my phone. Even if someone has a big phone, they have to pinch and zoom that menu and move it around, and it creates a frustrating experience. And sometimes it's not even, sometimes you can't even pinch and zoom it for that matter. So what this means is also that Google cannot read the menu. So we can read the menu even when we pinch and zoom it, but Google cannot read the text that's on that menu. And so that's a problem for search optimization for getting found on Google. So that's kind of like a second deeper problem. So basically, what is the solution here? Basically, you just want to take your menu and make a text version of that menu, or what we call an HTML version of that menu. Now, you don't need to know how to code. You don't need to know how to design stuff. Most of your web builders will have this in there. It's just that it's easier to place the image there because you don't have to type it out. So for instance, like when I'm designing a site for a restaurant or anybody that has a menu of services, typically I'm going to go ahead and type out that menu. Hopefully they have it somewhere where I don't have to type it out, or sometimes I can try and use like a PDF tool that extracts the text, but ultimately I'm doing some work to get that text out of there because in the long run, it makes it better for the user experience. So here's a couple examples you can look at of some that I've done recently. So you can go to vinenewburn.com/menu. So if you just go to vinenewburn.com/menu or halftimepub.com/menu. So again, that's halftimepub.com/menu. I'll leave both of these website addresses in the description so that way you can take a look at it. But both of those are an HTML version of a menu, and so those are much easier to read from both a smartphone and a desktop, and Google can read it. So again, you might not be a restaurant here, but I've definitely seen service-based businesses do this as well. So you probably have one of two thoughts right now at this point. Either the first one is, oh my God, I didn't even know this. I'm going to go ahead and email my web guy right now to fix it. Or I have no idea what the heck you're talking about, and I'm not even sure if my menu falls into this problem category. So if you're number two, just drop a comment with your website address, or just send me a message if you're like shameful, and I'll check it out for you. It's pretty simple for me to just look it up real quick, and I can just tell you if it's easy to read or not from a smartphone. If you're number one, I'm sorry that you're still paying for someone else to update your own business website for you when you could just be easily updating your website on your own in less time than it takes to brew a K-cup. See what I did there? By the way, thank you very much, Joey Jones. He was on my podcast last week, and he gave me one of these really nice mugs. So, actually, it's got, look at this. It's blue just the way I'll show you guys also. It's blue just the way I like it. So, thank you, Joey, for giving me this awesome coffee mug. So yeah, so you can update your website in less time than it takes to brew this K-Cup here. So if you want a rocket website by Bear City Impact, but that's none of my business. Okay, that's basically it. That's a 2-minute Tuesday. It actually has been 6.5 minutes. So I knew this wasn't going to be 2 minutes. So I think this is just going to be Tuesday tips because I know I can't keep it to exactly 2 minutes, but I think like 4 or 5 minutes is, isn't like super long. And so I try and make it as concise as possible by kind of scripting this out here. So mainly the reason I'm doing this is I catalog just about every day an interaction that I have with a client, a prospect, questions that people ask me, like frequently asked questions. I mean, I get asked questions all the time, multiple times a day. And so a lot of these things aren't really suited for like an 8 or 10 minute YouTube tutorial. They could be like a little blog entry, which is, I'll probably convert this to a blog, but ultimately they're not, it's not really conducive to making like a full tutorial about it. It's just sort of like, hey, here's like a little detail to kind of know about. And so, so that's why I thought about these like little quick tip videos, because it helps me get this information out to the masses and out to people, but just in a shortened kind of version. So, so now we're at like almost 8 minutes. So I'm just gonna call it quits here. But thank you so much for joining in. If you like this and you have a question of your own that you would like to be answered about either like web design, how to get more traffic to your website, how to convert more visitors from your website, how to grow social media, how to get found online, all sorts of stuff like that. If you have any of those questions, just drop it in a comment and I'll try and include that on a future video, on a future quick tip video, or perhaps a longer tutorial video. So otherwise, I'm out. Hope y'all have a great Tuesday.